Hi, my name is Sean. I am a pinsetter mechanic. I'm certified to work on Brunswick A, A2, and Jetback pinsetters. I've been doing this for roughly 5 years. So I have made videos in the past saying going through the adjustments for the pinsetters themselves. So today I'm going to show you how to take apart, clean, and rebuild the detector for these machines. It does get a little complicated, so if there's any questions you have, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Other than that, let's get started. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to remove the flags for the first and second ball micro switch. Now I apologize in advance if I don't name something the correct part or forget the part name. It has been a while since I've gone to the school, so I do not remember every single part names individually, but I will try my best. So after removing the flags, we're going to remove this remove this cover. In doing so, some of them are 3/8 bolts, some of them are 7/16. In this one's case, these are 7/16. So we're going to take, there are 3 bolts, we're going to take these 3 all out. Now, I don't remember how each part comes off and which way. I just am going to show you the way that I've taken them apart for the last 3 years. Now, not everyone has to go into these things. A lot of people try to avoid them because detectors are such a pain in the ass. But I'm one of those few people that actually enjoy taking things apart and seeing how they work. These, if your system is updated to the sync system like ours or any new system, these are, well, they're virtually worthless. So you can either sell them, maybe, if you can find anyone who wants to buy them, or you can just scrap them. They're virtually worthless to us, so we do not try to keep them. So you have those 3 bolts removed. Now the next ones you're going to have, these ones as far as I'm aware have always been 5/16 bolts. You have 3 of them, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so once those 3 are all removed, the next thing that we have to do is there are springs that are attached to this plate. We want to make sure that we get those, otherwise it's kind of difficult to get it off. The first thing you're going to do is, if you're looking at it this way, I'm going to turn it. There's going to be this spring right here that's attached. I'm going to take that off and feed it through. Now the next one is going to be right here at the top. Okay. Make sure you're setting everything aside in a place that is easily accessible. Now, I kind of like to look around and see what else I can take off at the time, which is going to be this spring here for our hook selector, and this one here for our outer range selector. I think that's what it's called. So again, apologize in advance. Okay, so now that everything's here, you can kind of pry this up. Sometimes they'll come up fairly easy, other times you kind of have to get a screwdriver and they'll just, which with these ones, seeming as if Well, it looks like I'm gonna have to get a screwdriver. So be right back. Okay, so with our screwdriver, you're just gonna do and pry it just a little bit at a time. Trying not to bend or break anything. Okay, so now that that's broke loose, God, I fought that one more than I should have. Okay, so again, set that off. This, as far as I'm aware, is also part of a scoring system. Maybe before my time for sure, but basically what this did is that if you had no tap, or if you had no tap, it'd set it to second ball automatically, I think. I could be wrong, but I know for a fact that when if you'd foul or something like that, it would give you a new rack of pins instead of cycling through everything. These are not hooked up at all for us anymore, so we've taken those off. So the next thing that you're going to want to do is you have these thrust washers here. Not everyone has them, but a good amount of them probably do. It is not set on how many are in here. This one has 2, so you want to make sure that you always keep those ready, because you're probably going to need them in the future when you're putting this back together. So the next thing I'm going to take off is this spring here, which this one, if you can tell, looks screwed to all hell. So we're probably going to end up replacing that. The next thing, let's see. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to take both of your cam followers off. Again, I apologize, I don't remember the names. I've just kind of based it all off of feel. So, first one, we're going to take this off. Try not to lose these roll pins, because if you don't have extras, they're a pain in the ass to try and find. So, well, that takes care of that. That spring comes off, sometimes it shoots out, be careful. So, next you'll take out this shaft, and in turn that will take off your follower, I can't remember what that's called, and your hook selector, along with this part. Oh, I'm so bad at these names. So sometimes, for some reason, this shaft, I'm sure the end of the shaft gets all messed up, but it'll like to catch on this follower and cause you a whole bunch of problems. But if you're going to hit this shaft, make sure you're very, very careful, and that if there's any burrs or anything that are on the edge of this, that they 100% get cleaned up before installing it back. Okay, so the next one we're going to be taking out is this roll pin here. Okay, this one is also definitely a pain to get out. Roll pin sucks more than anything. Okay, and just like that, it comes right off. Spacer, do not forget that. This slides out. This I like to keep as one piece normally. Okay, so moving on to this. So you'll have these, so you have your followers, your cam followers, and then you have your selectors. They are crossed, your selectors are crossed with your cam followers riding along it. So the thing is with these springs, when you're taking them off, you want to try and use as least amount of pressure as possible getting these off, because there is a possibility that you stretch them out. A lot of people do not want to use pliers. Me, I kind of find it a little bit easier to get them off the selector. So we'll take this out. That does not look good. So that broke. Okay, so we'll either need to replace this oil light bearing or change out the selector altogether. So we'll keep that off to the side here. So work with this spring. That spring is off. Okay, so springs we'll set aside as well with the rest of them. Okay, this selector is off. No damage to this, so we should be fine there. Next is one of your followers. Inspect that. That's good. This feels fine. Okay, same deal here. Inspect this, make sure that's all good. Bearing is fine. Now sometimes you do have these in here as well, along with, similar to how you did up here. Again, keep these because you'll probably need them to keep everything lined up with the desired cam that it needs to go onto. So now you'll have all your outer range mechanisms here. This is all your outer range stuff that has to do with your detector. So you have 3 X washers that you need to get off. So that's off. Save the pin, but we'll replace the X washer. The X washer pin. We'll save the X washer pin, get rid of and change out the X washer. And then we'll do that for all of them. Okay, so this will go off to the side. This will come off. Inspect it, bearing's fine. This is all good. So we'll take this X washer off here. Link will come out. Okay, so you have one more. Oh, take the detector out. And you have one more roll pin that needs to come out, and that's for right here. So you want to be a little bit careful because I have broken plenty of punches trying to get this out. Well, speaking of broke, well, don't do what I did. Now that my punch is broke and this is still in there, it's gonna stay in there. It's not doing any harm. Yeah, it's not doing any harm. It's keeping this in like it's supposed to. We'll just have to clean around this. So that's the only issue really. But other than that, that is all your parts dismantled and everything like that. So now basically all you have to do, oh wait, let me see, what was it? There was this one. Let's see if I have one. Ah, I do. Cool. All right, so I have an extra one. If you have an extra one, cool. If not, then you're gonna have to try and find this oil light bearing and replace it. But now all you have to do, basically use degreaser or whatever you have to clean. Preferred degreaser, because other than that you're going to be fighting this for a while trying to get it clean. So clean it and then we will be back after that. All right, well, now that we're back, parts are cleaned. If they look like mine, great. They look better, fantastic. If they look worse, you should probably keep cleaning. Just a suggestion. Now, I know that your detector disc assembly is kind of a pain to clean, but the best you can get and make sure everything moves. You know, this is free. Bearings are still good. No burrs at the end of anything. Cams are still good. No cracks. Then you should be fine. So, first thing we're going to do is we're going to put the disc assembly in. And then make sure that the rod that connects to the detector rod is between this post here and this hole, because when this comes up, there's no way that you're going to be able to move this in any other way to get it here. So make sure it's where it needs to be. The next thing we're going to be putting on, is the out of range cam follower. And have to finagle some things. So this detector assembly will move up and down just because there is a piece on there. So just make sure that, you know, all your cams and followers all line up. So if I remember correctly, I had these two spacers here. So next we will put the link in. Put this, I can't remember what it's called again. Put that in. And the SX washer pin here. Okay, that's your outer range, good to go. So next we will put the cam followers in. So remember, these go to the point to where the roller is meeting the bearings, I mean the cams. I am wrong. I'm trying to teach you and I don't even know what the hell I'm doing. Okay, so this one, okay, you have the one with the projection on it. Okay, that one's gonna go over here. And this one over here, that is flat. It's gonna go on here. Okay, just like that. So next, we are going to put the selectors on. Now you have one with the projection, that one's going to go on top of it. These are going to crisscross. It's just like so. I was wrong. Those spacers go on top of here, so that you gotta remember sometimes. Okay. Okay. Yes, so those go there. Okay, and then we'll put the selectors back on. And that should give us a better gap. Now remember that we did change out, this is a different selector because the other one had it's broken oil light bearing. So remember that, keep that in mind. Okay, so now we're going to put this shaft in with your, pretty sure it's your moving deck scissor selector. Let's try to do this. Up, one thing. Any sort of oil, I would use oil instead of grease, just so it's not as thick. But you want to have a thin layer of oil on your shafts. So go through here. And then we'll put on our brake hook selector. Okay, that bearing lines up, so that's good. Put this piece on. So I'm already gonna assume that I'm gonna fight to get this on. So one sec while I get this on. So now that that is on, I'm going to line up the holes for the roll pin. And we're going to put the roll pin in, which is this one. That is in. Okay, same thing, we're going to put a thin layer of oil on the shaft. Okay, remember, keep this right there, otherwise you will not be able to get this rod in this position. It needs to be in this position. Okay, then you'll have this spacer that needs to go on first. Now we need to put on this cam follower, which you need to make sure the bearing is up instead of down. And the other thing too, when going and putting this on, is there's a spring that needs to go right here. Everyone has a different way of doing it. So I'm going to slide the spring on, press it, move it to the hole. Okay, and it looks, shit. It looks like the hole is lined up for the roll pin as well. So we're gonna put the roll pin in. Roll pin is in. Now you'll maybe have a gap here. All you gotta do is just move that. Move the whole shaft down and you'll be good. Okay. So now okay. So there's going to be all your springs that you need to put on next. Actually, correct. One sec. Before I forget, you need to make sure that you put on your X washers. Otherwise, you might fight it a little bit more. Okay. All right, now we can move on to springs. So the first one we're going to put on right here is going to be this one right here. Hooks underneath here and onto there. The next one we're going to do are the ones between your cam followers and your selectors. So you're going to hook this down under here. So I'm going to hook it. If I can get a hold of it. maybe. So you're gonna hook it under here, unless this is the wrong spring. That's the wrong spring. So hook it on there, and then you want to come underneath your selector and you don't want to stretch it too much, but there you go. Okay, so then you have to, then same thing on the other one is you'll hook it on there and then come underneath the selector, and that is it. So the next one we're gonna do is the one for your outer range. That one is gonna hook underneath here, hook under here, and then onto this stud right here. Okay. Next is going to be the one for your hook selector, which goes from here to this stud here. Now, most of your detectors should have a spacer that sits on this stud. So you should be so that spacer should sit there. I've seen several people put X-washer pins on here, but to be honest, when you go and put it on, that spring should sit in that gap anyways, so you shouldn't need an X-washer sitting on there. Not to say that yours doesn't, but you shouldn't need that. So, and then if you remember, we had these two spacers here. They need to go on top of the detector disc. So now we can put this cover plate on. We've got all the springs that are easily accessible through here. And the other thing is that when you put it in, I like to get it right here, because there should be 90 degrees, and that's when you have to take a detector off and put it back on. So now we can put the cover back on, and you're gonna have to maybe finagle some things around more than others. Okay, so now we're gonna go ahead and put on the 3 larger screws for the plate. Okay, plate is on, so now we are going to put on the 3 smaller bolts. Okay, those are on. So now we have 2 final springs that need to go on. The one that's up top here that connects to your cam follower, Okay, that one right there. And then the final one that goes to your other cam follower hooks up on the top through just like that. And then this loop is gonna hook right onto that stud, just like so. And then your flag for your first and second ball light. Don't have to tighten this down all the way because you're gonna have to adjust that when you put it on anyways. So one more final touch and then you should be done. So one more final touch. I like to initial it just so that way it's known who has rebuilt it. And the other thing too is I like to put the rebuilt date on and the install date. As of recording this video, it is the 6th of October 2022. So, and there you go. One fully rebuilt detector assembly. Alright, so that's it. These can get a little confusing, so if you have any questions, please leave it in the comments below. I'm more than happy to answer, and I hope this helped someone. And I will see you guys in the next video.